So I want to talk about two different ways to look at why we do things. There's the... Well, anyway, but first thing that I need you to do is, can you just look down? How long is this video? If this video is over 5 minutes, put a dislike, please, and then watch the first 5 minutes. We also talk about why we do things, and since we tend to assume that we're reasonable, these reasonable souls, we tend to assume that the reason for our action was, well, reasonable, and with some combination of legitimate objectives and verified information, and those things came together in such a coherent way that produced your reasonable behavior. And then when you can't figure out how good objectives and good reason could have coherently come together to make your behavior, like, I have no idea what came over me, I have no idea why I did that. In fact, it's very rare that anything that you do is based on some kind of coherent objectives and verified information interacting in a reasonable way to produce the correct behavior. Okay. So there are two, when we ask, why did someone do something? There are two possible types of reasons that we can give. We can give the programmer's reason and the agent's reason. And actually, I don't think I'm going to keep the word agent there. The programmer's reason, the machine's reason, maybe, because what we usually like to do is assume that we are these intentional agents. And so then we have all these agent reasons that are not really useful. So let me give you an example. Very simple example would be, why do we bury the dead? Or why do we even just, put dead bodies somewhere else? The machine reason is that they smell bad. That's it, pretty much. Now, the programmer's reason, the reason we're programmed for that to smell bad, is because it's a health risk. We don't think about the health risk. We don't go, oh, dead body, diseases, that's dangerous. Let's get that away from here. Or at least we didn't for most of our history, but now that sort of complements our thinking about it. Gosh, I really don't look awake. That's okay. Anyway, so there we go. So I don't actually know what we're gonna call it. Shit, so I don't know what this is titled. Definitely the programmer's reason is the reason why the mechanisms in your mind are set up the way that they are. It's sort of the survival or reproductive rationale for why it's best for you to handle input the way you do and produce the output that you do. But then when you're actually handling the input and producing the output, you're not thinking about the same things that the programmer, Mother Nature, the genome, and their work together were thinking. So try to think of some examples of this. And also, what should we call... So there's the programmer's reason, the agent's reason, which is bullshit because there's no real agent. And what is... Oh, it's just because it smells bad. Or, for instance, with the word because, when we need to hear that in order to comply with an action, we need to hear the word because, even if it's followed by gibberish. So the programmer's reason for that is to make sure that, we don't do a whole lot of things, if we haven't heard a reason for them. Of course, since it can be followed by gibberish, we don't actually need a reason. But look, it filters things because at least there was the word because. And then the machine's reason for doing this thing was, oh, it heard the word because. And that's it. And the programmer's reason was, well, you should have a good reason to agree to do things. Does that make sense? Anyway, I have to leave it at 5 minutes so I don't get dislikes. So if you have an idea for what we should call not the programmer's reason, let me know.